All right, good evening, everyone, and peace and blessings, and welcome back to the STEM Files, where we serve as the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. In tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the need for Blacks to study medicine. Medical care should be accessible and equal for all, right? This
Yes,
means
sir.
that Black people need to get into medicine and make it easier for those who come behind them. This week's episode is all about helping to make that happen. So join us tonight as we build with third-year medical student Charles, about to be Dr. Charlz Bisong Jr. On the need to study medicine, his inspirational journey so far, and so much more. Stay tuned for more after this, family.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy.
All right, guys, as the opening intro always states, we teach heavy science on this platform. This is the voice of STEM talent and Black culture, where we try our best to bring Black people together to discuss scientific topics in depth and make it digestible for those who may not necessarily be familiar with science or certain types of scientific disciplines. But family, my name is Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I am a biomedical research scientist with a concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm typically joined by my right hand, who actually just had a beautiful baby girl. He is now a girl dad. He's not with us here physically, but he's definitely here with us in spirit. His name is Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabril Engineer. He's a civilian mechanical engineer for the United States Navy. He works on those big, powerful ships that you see out on the coastlines, and he works to make sure that these ships are working as they should, function as they should, and are made durable as they should. So I always butcher his role with the Navy, but I'm sure he'll correct me with the mental telepathy we got going on. But family, this is the STEM Files. This is your platform for Black people who are in the sciences. This is your platform for Black people who love the sciences and want to know more about certain things and how things work on a scientific level. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let my brother talk. But first of all, let me give y'all backstory to Charlz and I. So 10 years ago, we met at a conference. I think it was the National
Right.
Leadership Forum on Medicine, something like that.
Yes, sir. NY.
So
Yes, sir.
right, NYLF, and we were, honored with this program. Was really an honor because it exposed high school students to the uh, the medical arena. Not so much, not just the medical arena, but also exposed us to ha- the discipline that is of being a physician. So it was really geared to expose us to different career choices that you may have in medicine. Um, we went to various hospitals. We got to meet a lot of physicians themselves and really get to know what they do. And what was the group that you were a part of, bro? I know I was a part of Fleming, but what was yours?
I
Was it
think
Nightingale or something like that?
Nightingales. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Nightingales. Yeah.
yeah. So Fleming and Nightingale were rivals, right? Because they was, always compete with each other. It was right next door to each other. All the workshops were all at the same time. And I just remember the competitive nature
Yeah.
of both groups, man. You
Extremely,
couldn't tell us nothing.
extremely competitive, and it literally had like there was no reward or anything, but we were just competitive from the
Right.
beginning. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for those who are wondering, why I called that, Fleming and Nightingale, of course, your Alexander Fleming, who's credited with discovering penicillin. Then, of course, you have Florence Nightingale, who was a pioneer in nursing. So we were able to really get to know each other. Really spend some time with one another. I think I was 18 years old at the time. How old were you at that time?
I
17.
think 17. Yeah, 17.
Yeah, yeah. So and I just remember, man, we were even in both groups, man. The young Black male mindset, man. You couldn't tell us nothing that
Nothing.
weekend, man. We
It
was
was
we
like
was the
this. Yeah,
right.
it was connected. Yeah.
Absolutely. But man, so tell us about yourself. First and foremost, why the STEM Falls? Why did you come back? Well, not.
Honestly, I've been watching STEM Files, the past couple episodes just to see how you and Jabril been moving, and I've always been inspired by it. So whenever you hit me up, you was like, "Hey, Charles," I was like, "You already know what's gonna happen. We're already gonna have that connection. I definitely want to be the next guest on this show." Told me that we were talking about some topics, and I was like, I know exactly I want to talk about, this journey to medicine, because we both, like you said, since a decade ago, since we were 17 and 18, we knew what we wanted to do. We knew that there's other avenues, other journeys to get to where we want to be. And I wanted to touch on that as well, but just that determination, just that perseverance to continue to be pushing, because we want to see people like us in these certain fields. So that was honestly my first initial response why I want to be on the STEM Files.
Man, I appreciate that too. And it's always good to have those long lasting relationships too, right? When it really only takes once you meet somebody and y'all know what y'all want to do, and it happens to be pretty much along the same lines, it's an instant, bond. And whatever you do in the future, it's a wrap. Like whatever you got going on, I'm in. So I appreciate you coming through. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're from. What inspired you to go into medicine, and then we'll get right into the meat of it. Why there's a need for Blacks to study medicine.
Okay. So a little background information. My name is Charlz Bisong Jr. I'm a first generation African American. Both of my parents are from Cameroon. As many of y'all know, born from immigrants, our parents they pressure us to know at an early age our career goals, our choices, being the first, the oldest brother. They're like, Junior, you have these decisions. You could either be a dentist, a lawyer, or a doctor. Choose one. I was 5 at the time, so I said, I don't like going to the dentist. Let's scratch that one.
That's off.
Exactly. At the age of 5, you don't really know what a lawyer does, So I said, don't know what that is, but I'm cool. I'm cool with my physician. I'm cool with my pediatrician. Let me choose doctor. And that's how it initially started. But, once I got older, once I learned more, did my research, saw what it truly takes to become a doctor. Like you said, we both were in that pre-med medical conference, going in there, seeing how many years it would take, seeing the SAT, the MCAT, all these board exams that we need to take to reach our goal. I was like, all right, I can understand, so I can get with it. Just being surrounded by like-minded individuals from high school to college, grad school, even now, continued that passion, that fire in me, that I'm like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it too. My brothers who are further in medical school than me, seeing them get accepted, seeing them wear their white coat, that's what inspired me. Like, oh, if my brother can do it, I know I can do it, and just continuing gave me that passion, flamed that fire for me. So I went to Baylor University in Waco, Texas, where I majored in biochemistry. I got my master's in public health at Mercer in Atlanta. I worked a year or two with the CDC, and then I got accepted to medical school. So I had to make a career change from working with the CDC to going back and being a medical student. So that's pretty much my journey. I'm a third year. I finished half of my boards. I got another half at the end of this year, but God willing, we're gonna make it through.
Awesome. I was just about to where you at with your with the board prep and all that. Okay, cool. So let's take it back a little bit. You said that your brothers are a lot further along in their training, right?
Yes, sir.
So where are they at specifically, individually?
So I'm gonna shout them out. I told them I would shout them out. My boy Trevor Thompson, Dr. Trevor Thompson. He's an internal medicine resident at Vanderbilt.
Okay.
My line brother, another one. They're both my fraternity brothers, but my line brother, Sonny Anosike, he's a 4th year medical student at Morehouse in Atlanta. So, and Trevor also went to Meharry, both HBCUs.
Right.
Those are my close brothers in medicine. I have a few others that they're not coming to the top of my mind, but those are my close brothers. We've been through the trenches together and, rising. And like I said, seeing one of them make it, then seeing the other. And I was like, oh, I definitely, for sure, I'm continuing this journey, and as well as the younger brothers after me, we're continuing this journey of Blacks in medicine.
Yeah, and that reminds me of that book, The Pact, right? It was a group of 3 brothers who were growing up, and they swore that they would each become doctors. They made that pact, and they made sure that no matter what happens, they would get to their goals, right? So them seeing you come up, with you being the third one, you're coming up in your 3rd year, and you're all just kind of, coming into your own when it comes to becoming physicians in a sense.
True.
How have you all just been able to sit down, the three of you, and just kind of talk about, what your plans are, how you plan on, affecting your communities, things doing together?
Easily. Like you said, a pact, as you would say, just three brothers getting down, already talking about our dreams, already talking about how it's going to look like in 2025 when I graduate, how it's already going to look like in 2035, 10 years after I graduate, how we're going to be working businesses together, helping our community, real estate, just one would say manifesting it, but truly, we know God is utilizing us, whichever way it comes to fruition, we just know just making an impact. Whether we've had conversations about, we can start building houses in this community, low income, get them places to stay, whether it's just opportunities where we can give back to our community, going back to the colleges that we went to, going back to other schools, talking to high schools, people that look like us, inspiring them, as well as having those discussions that, you don't have to be a football player or athlete to be successful. Having these conversations that say there are other avenues, other opportunities to where you could be successful, take care of your family, build generational wealth. Those are the conversations that start, just in our little text message group that we've been discussing these past years. I've known these guys since 2015, and we've always had this, I'm going to get to medical school, or after medical school, I'm going to handle boards, or you just looking up and looking at the next path and looking at the next step, as well as communicating it. They've paved the road. Trevor has paved the road for Sonny and me. Sonny's paved the road, and it continues and it continues. We're giving back to our college. We have group chats with younger students, pre-medical students that want to get to where we are. We're like, this is how you do it. Learn from your mistakes, building out study schedules with them. So that's the initial, tasks and actions that we're able to do at the positions that we're in right now. That's how we're giving back to our community.
Got you. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna come back to that too, because matter of fact, I think I got some pictures of the three of y'all that I wanted to kind of put up on the screen. But so tonight's topic, right, is the need for Blacks to study medicine. So I didn't put up any statistics, on the rate of how, on how many Black people are in medicine, because you don't need statistics. You can go out to your local hospital and see that, right?
True.
So talk to us about, going, and I they got that cat driving meme going around on Instagram, right? Yeah. So I posted a video saying when the cat driving away when he didn't see any Black physicians in the hospital. He was in the emergency room. It's like he's in the emergency. He still wasn't going in there.
Still not.
So not that that's a good thing, but sometimes you just want to see yourself.
True.
You want to be able to go to a doctor and the person looks like you. It's a different connection. It's a different type of patient care when the person looks like you. That's fact.
It's a type of warmth and reassurance that that this individual is doing that, doing that extra effort to ensure that you're okay.
Right.
It isn't like turning around or saying, your pain is due to some type of demographic or comorbidity. No, you're looking at what I have right now, and you understand my background and how this could have happened, as well as you could explain it to me without me being confused. I think that's the warmth. If I could describe anything, the warmth of knowing, all right, they got me, she's got me, he's got me.
Right. And that brings me back to the question I had, right? We had a sister in Atlanta, I believe, and she was giving birth, and her doctor, and I'm sure you've heard of this story already, and the doctor improperly removed the baby or the fetus from the womb, and then ended up killing the child.
Yeah.
Right. So the doctor was Black. She was a female, Black female physician.
Yeah.
Highly decorated, very skilled in what she does.
Easily.
But people were shocked. It's like, this is a Black woman? Like, what? So talk about, just because the person is Black does not mean that they are free from mistakes or error in medicine.
I like that you said that, and that's one thing that I like to preach on is accountability.
Right.
And as you already said, the world was like, especially as Black people, we were like, oh, this is horrible, this is crazy. She's Black.
Right. Worse.
We all took a step back. It's like, come on.
Right.
After we preach, healthcare, we already have a stigma, or we already have a negative connotation with healthcare within our Black community. So just from reading these pieces, we're like, oh, we know how this is going to end. But that blemish, that definitely had a conversation within our community. So just to talk upon that accountability, if her staff kept her accountable, if she kept her staff accountable, because this is more than just on the doctor. As you said, this happened, the whole room, everyone involved kept their mouths shut. Everyone kept quiet, staff kept quiet until it blew up out of proportion. And I think it all starts with accountability, where the physician keeping herself accountable, as well as the staff, the team, keeping each other accountable. Mistakes happen. This shouldn't have happened, but mistakes happen. But why was it under wraps? No, why was it secret? Why did the mother and the family have to go through this? Because people weren't keeping each other accountable. People were not communicating. People were just trying to cover their hides. And I think that's what made this a lot worse. A lot worse. It's already a horrible situation, but that made it a lot worse.
Absolutely. Man, and it's tough because, like you said before, when you saw it on social media, like, okay, we know how they're going to spin this. Yeah. They're going to make it seem like, oh, it really doesn't matter, does it? If they're Black or white, but it does. And we have to understand that, no one is free from mistakes. No one is free from error. Everybody is going to mess up. But when you go and try to cover it up, that's when it becomes, an issue. But man, this has been a great conversation so far. I wanted to flip, as me and Jabril and I were members of the Nation of Islam. Sure. And I wanted to play a clip of Minister Farrakhan talking about the need for Black doctors to come together and serve their people. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Okay. You ready for it?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
We need a ministry of health and human service to look after the health needs of the Black, the brown, the Native American, and the poor. And I'm asking all of our doctors, when we go back home, let us form a ministry of health and human service that we can use to serve the needs of the Black, the brown, the red, and the poor of this nation.
So, family, for those who just saw that 40-second clip of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that was from the Millions More movement. I believe it's the 10th. That was the 10th anniversary of the Million Man March, and he was talking about how we should come together to form a collective that will be used to serve the community outside of the traditional settings that we currently have, right? So we talked about early on, we talked about coming together, you talked about the different things that you and your friends want to do. But in terms of, the service work, being able to go out into the community, what are some of the things that that Minister Farrakhan said that stood out to you that applies to what you got that plan?
You hit it right on the head when you talked about service, because when he was talking, the first thing that came to my mind was the Hippocratic Oath. Pretty much every oath that all doctors say, we protect our patients, do everything, don't want to hurt them, things like that. But like you said, to serve, we're here to serve our community. And this isn't necessarily, and like you said, brothers in ministry, but this isn't necessarily just on, the brothers and the sisters. Everyone should be trained to look out for this certain demographic, for this population, this low income, brown, red, everything like he just said. It isn't necessarily on us, but we need to start it. We need to have a foundation. It starts with us. Right. It doesn't start with anyone else. Of course, we all go through this oath, but it starts with us. And with this foundation that we have laid, then others can come in, and then we can build this ministry that to ensure that we're taking care of this specific population. And he mentioned this specific population too, plagued with social determinants of health, plagued with socioeconomical factors that play into why this certain race, this certain demographic is leading in these comorbidities. There's a reason why he explained it in that way, but it just made me think of the oath, that we all give, that should be a priority of all physicians. Not just Black, not just brown, not just yet. It should be of all physicians, that we're ensuring that these certain group of people are receiving the optimal care that they need to have. There's a reason why they are leading in this comorbidity. it isn't just because, of diet and lifestyle. There's a lot of factors that go into this, and this specific demographic needs that ministry, needs that foundation, needs that help. So that's the first thing that came to mind.
Got you. And when I reached out to you, man, and I asked, would you like to be on the show? The first thing I thought about, in terms of how this episode would go, was, we're going to talk about the plight of Black people in healthcare and what have you. I wanted to get from you, when we're looking at, Black people and how they've been treated in healthcare, what do you think is the number one factor for why that is? Why do you think Black people are such a disadvantage when it comes to healthcare?
You're talking about being on the receiving ends, or are you talking about in the position, say?
Both actually. Yeah, but definitely start with the receiving end first.
Okay, the receiving end. I've had this discussion before with friends of other races as well as Black people on the receiving, necessarily on the receiving end. Honestly, you could talk about education regarding, there's people that's like, oh, I don't want vaccines. I'm not going to put that in my body, from our previous history, our past history, discussions amongst African Americans like, oh, I'm not going to go see the doctor. Oh, you go there, you go into the hospital, you're going to end up dying. Anyone who goes into the hospital ends up dying. So just clearing those stigmas, those negative connotations with the hospital, with primary care. Typically, insurance, health insurance, it's expensive. If I'm sick, I'm just go to the urgent care or the emergency room. So that also plays an effect. But trying to figure out, why we're on the other side of optimal care, not necessarily receiving it, that's difficult. That's going to take some more time for me to think about. The first thing I just want to say, education. I can't tell you how many patients I've seen, and you're like, oh, in my head, I'm thinking, why did they get this bad? Why did their status get this so severe? In my head, I'm like, why didn't you come see this, see the doctor earlier? You could talk about, oh, they live 50 minutes from the closest hospital. Oh, they work 24/7. They don't have time to come see this missing work. They got to feed the family, got to feed the kids. And you look at that and it's like, oh, we're not the only ones, African Americans, Blacks, we're not the only ones with those problems. But why is it to us, we're like, oh, we don't want to get seen till it gets that severe. I don't know, perhaps education that, oh, we don't necessarily have to wait. Oh, that we don't necessarily have to push and be, so vigilant, so strong that we have to wait till it gets so bad that we can't bear it anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's ingrained in us. Maybe, we have discussions growing up. Oh, you're tough. You fight through it. Be a man. Oh, this and that. I don't know. That's a great question, and I sure don't have the answer for that right now.
Gotcha. Well, let's unpack it a little bit. You said if it's ingrained in them, right?
Yeah.
And you look throughout history, there's a lot of things that Black people can look to, and we're taught, the history best rewards of research. Yeah. There's a lot of things that Black people can look to say, okay, you know what, y'all did this, y'all did that. You got Henrietta Lacks, you got the syphilis experiment in Tuskegee, you got a whole bunch of other things, right? Yes, so sir. Just coming from that vantage point, knowing the history and knowing, what has happened to our people when it comes to healthcare, do you think that plays a psyche into why a Black person today would rather not?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000% it plays a psyche. 1,000% the mistrust. Having conversations with your own father and saying, "Oh, Dad, when's the last time you seen the appointment? Oh, son, no, I'm not gonna do it. This is this and that." And it's just like seeing your own father. And I'm the educator. I'm the one in medical school. I should be like, "Hey, Dad, you need." See the doctor, but those are things that we just can't necessarily talk through just because, this is something that we've been taught from the beginning. So trying to just change that with a couple conversations, change that with a couple statistics and percents, it's very difficult. Those are very tough discussions, and it's not necessarily fair for us to be the ones to have those. When, like you said, the history and all that is there. All we can do is try to move on and continue and to have those difficult conversations. But I definitely feel like it plays 100% in the psyche for sure.
Got you. And when you and your friends, you talked about earlier about, the things that your friends have planned. When you going out into the community and serving them, what are some of the things or some of the myths that you and your team want to bust up while you're out there serving your people?
Right off the bat, vaccines. Right off the bat, vaccines. That's the first thing. That's the first myth that come into my mind. Discussions. I'm not even talking about like the COVID vaccine. I'm talking about like vaccines straight when the child is born. I've had discussions with my friends like, "Oh, I'm not giving my baby shot. So this is this. How do you think our ancestors did it? This is this." I'm like, there's a reason why polio isn't so rapid and prevalent now because of vaccines. There's a reason why there's certain outbreaks in parts of New York and all around the world. People aren't, vaccinating their children. So I think vaccines is the first, myth that I'd like to debust.
So when you say myth,
yeah,
we don't have to go too deep into this, but when you say myth, what particular myths are you talking about in terms of?
I'm just talking about the ideas that we don't necessarily need to vaccinate against these preventable diseases. I'm not talking about the straight up myth that vaccines cause autism. That's a different discussion. I don't believe that. I'm just talking about the idea that we don't need to vaccinate and that we believe, herd immunity, or that we believe that, like we can go through it and then recover. Some of these diseases aren't those diseases that we can simply just, take a hit when we're younger and come back stronger and pass antibodies on. Some of these diseases we need the vaccine. Those are the myths that I'm discussing. Those are the myths where I talk with friends who are like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna give my child any vaccinations. Those are the myths. Thank you for asking. That's what I was trying to say. The idea that we don't necessarily need the medicine, the preventable vaccinations to prevent these preventable diseases. That's what I meant.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you something of a follow up to that. We'll go into the next topic because that's not why we're here today.
Yeah.
But do you feel that if enough attention was put on developing the immune system and boosting the immune system, that there'd be a lot more education and a lot more application of that education, and there wouldn't be a need to even, necessarily rely on vaccines in particular? Do you think there should be enough education on how to properly handle the immune system?
I see what you mean. I'm very big on osteopathic medicine. I'm very big on preventable and alternate medicine. So then the question is, do I believe we need to educate? We need to make lifestyle modifications. I 100% agree. I believe, we could prevent diabetes and prevent obesity. There wouldn't be needs for our patients to be taking all these certain medications. So when you ask the question, do you believe that we need a stronger focus? We need to focus on, nutrition, lifestyle modifications, and certain things that would eliminate our reasons to be taking certain medications. I 1,000% agree with you on that when we're discussing it. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. And the vaccine topic, is a very controversial topic, and it's definitely something that can be its own episode. So we're going to leave it at that. I personally do not, just coming from a scientific perspective and being in a lab and being on teams that have helped make vaccines, I know what's in those vials, so I have a different, outlook as to, vaccine safety and the efficacy and all that. So we'll talk about that another time. But we at the 30-minute mark almost. This is the time we like to, promote some black-owned businesses, Final Call newspaper. So family, check out this short, quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
Peace. This is Naya Muhammad, a future architect. And you're watching The STEM Files.
All right, family. So that was, of course, the Final Call newspaper. And this week's edition of the Final Call newspaper is The Science of Business. National Black business organizations, Black entrepreneurs, and business owners convened in Atlanta with the goal of forming a unified Black business agenda. Read about the importance of this historic gathering and why it is important than ever to support Black business. Family, if you're interested in reading this article and supporting this newspaper, definitely get with me in Richmond, Virginia, and get your physical copy, or if you're in Philadelphia, get with your bro. Or if you're interested in reading it online via the digital version, it's finalcalldigital.com, and follow them on all their social media websites at Final Call Newspaper. This is the flagship product of the Nation of Islam, as well as news you can use for you and your family. There's nothing like having a Black-owned business. There's nothing like Black people engaging in business, like we talked about earlier on in the program. And whatever it is that your field is, and your endeavor or your market is, try to build something from it. Don't just have a run-of-the-mill business, but have some intellectual property so that your business can have genetic or a generational wealth and have an abundance of things that come from it. So family, definitely get your latest issue of the Final Call News. So let's get back into it, right? We're talking about the need for Blacks to study medicine. What was it about? So you said when you were 5 years old, right? You talked about, this was the decision you made, but along from the time you were 5 to now, what was the initial point in your life where it was like, okay, yeah, this is it. I don't want to do nothing else. This is exactly what I want to do. And it's no longer a dream or a thought.
I think the initial spark into my, interest in medicine, but what confirmed it was my own close relationship with my physician, my pediatrician, right? Growing up, I had asthma. I tried playing sports, shortness of breath. I talked to my physician. I was like, hey, I'm really trying to try out for the football team. He's like, you could do it. I didn't think I could do it. I was just trying to figure out a way to handle my asthma. But it was the way, he coached me necessarily, gave me mental fortitude. It was like, hey, if you believe, if you work hard, if you grind, you can do anything you put your mind to. And that's the type of motivation I took from handling asthma, handling the football field, as well as handling classes. Once I did more research and figuring out what type of physician I wanted to be, I was like, okay, maybe I could see myself as a pediatrician to have this type of relationship with my other patients, trying to build strong men, strong Black men, being that role model for them. I think that's what kind of tightly secured that role, that position in my life. And going through medical school and going through grad school and seeing how important an impact I can make within my community. I think that's what's kept me so tight on this role. That's kept me saying, I know what I want to do. I want to be a pediatrician, and I want to be a physician, a provider. I want to give back to my community. I want to make an impact in other people's lives the way my physician made an impact in my life.
Gotcha. So is that the branch of medicine you want to go into? You want to go into pediatrics?
Yes, sir. So far, I'm on my third rotation, and pediatric is still number one. So I get to do my pediatric rotation in January. We'll see if that still has my heart, but as of today, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And there's something about them rotations, man. I was just watching, Joel Burville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so his he did a phenomenal job in breaking down each rotation that he was on his social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know, a rotation is really a chance in a certain amount of time that you have to really get exposed to other to all of them, really, all the different branches of medicine, internal medicines, general surgery, the whole nine, right? Sure. So what has been your favorite rotation so far? Have you gone through all of them yet?
No, I've only gone through 3. Yeah, I've only gone through 3. I'm doing cardiology right now. My boy Cardiac Muhammad. I'm doing cardiology.
Hey, I'm biased.
It's been great so far. I've done family medicine, OB-GYN. Yeah, this is my third one. So yeah, so far so good. But yeah.
Got you. And with rotations, right? It really allows you to get to to step into the world of somebody else's chosen career path, right?
Sure.
And it doesn't make you an expert in it. It just allows you to know what it's like and to study it and to get a good feel of it.
Sure.
And with with your area, you know, because I think pediatrics, that's internal medicine.
It's
Oh,
it's its own. It's its own. Yeah.
okay. So when you go into when you now that you're in cardiology, right? What are some of the key similarities that you see in terms of how? So you've been through three. What are
Yeah.
some of the things that those three have in common that makes that kind of connects them?
The way you interact and treat your patients, it kind of reflects how your business or how you are as a person, necessarily treating with care, figuring out what the problem is as well as the whole. But in all three of these specialties, it's truly how you treat your patients is what makes your practice. That's one thing that I've learned for sure. Everyone from delivering babies to just seeing your preceptor for a checkup to heart surgery. It's truly how you treat your patient. It's the follow up through the whole nine, like you said. It's literally follow up and treating it's going to reflect you as a person, as a doctor, as well as your clinic.
Got you. And you said, you know, how you treat your patient, right? And I'm big on bedside manner because I have a very extensive patient care background as well as the research. But I wanted to just kind of get from you, you know, when you're doing your rotations and you're interacting with those patients, right? How do you? Because I know you have a very outgoing, effervescent personality, right?
Yeah.
And I know this personally from being around you.
Mhm.
And when you, oftentimes, you know, when you see medical students and they're doing the rotations, or when you see residents come around and they're checking on their patients,
Mhm.
you know, the bedside manners is like trash.
Yeah.
Right? They can't talk to the patient, right? They come in and treat them like a number and this, that, and the third. But when you go in that room,
Mhm.
how do you interact with your patients?
I think, and it's very important. I learned from my last rotation. The very first thing I do when I touch down on campus at the hospital, I pray. Honestly, I pray. This opportunity to do rotations is something I've been praying for, and since I was 5, just to be, because I know, like you said, my personality. This is where I know I'm gonna thrive. But I did well in the classroom, but here I know this is where I'm gonna thrive. So honestly, I pray for the energy each and every day to give to my patients. As soon as I walk in through that door, I know I'm radiating positive energy because today's a new day. Today's a new opportunity to learn, as well as today is a new opportunity to become a better doctor. So, like you said, as soon as I touch down, I ensure that my radiant energy is there, from the greetings of the staff, from the greetings to the patients in the waiting room, to as soon as I knock on that door saying, "Hello, my name is third-year medical student Charlz Bisong Jr. I'll be seeing you before the doctor gets in here." They could already feel, that charisma. They could already feel my radiant energy saying, "Oh, this person cares about me. Oh, this person, regardless of how he's feeling back at home, he might have his own troubles, his own trauma, his own problems at home. He did not bring it here today. He might have some beef with other classmates. He might even be pissed at his resident, his attending. He did not bring that energy into this room, into this area for me. He is focused on me. He's giving me 100% of his attention. He's listening to me. He isn't just checking boxes off saying, "Oh, you got this," or "You got this." We're truly having a flowing conversation that's allowing me to understand why you're here today and how can we help you here at this office.
Got you. And that's important too, man, because you have you don't want to make the patient feel uncomfortable by bringing in whatever drama that y'all got going on amongst each other into that room, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you this, you know, you being in your cardiology rotation, I know you've seen a lot of Black people because that's just how heart disease affects our community, right?
Okay.
So how have they responded to seeing you come in there and work with them?
Honestly, it's amazing because within my colleagues, I'm the only African American. Just within my colleagues right now, within my medical student group, as well as there aren't any Black attendings or doctors at the moment at the certain office that I'm at. So I know just today I had a woman just smile and say, "I haven't seen your gorgeous face here." And I'm just laughing at her. I'm like, at first I'm like, this woman's hilarious, but then it also reminds me, like, yeah, I am new. I am a sight to see. I am, bringing my radiant energy to this office. And I bet it's great for them to see someone like me, someone young in this position, because this is about to become a norm. Our faces in these certain areas are going to soon become a norm. So it was just funny to laugh at it at that moment, as I reflected, I was like, yeah, this is soon going to become the norm. So
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I hope that this platform and this interview helps to create that norm, because that's literally the goal of this platform, to create more of you and to multiply you, so and trust and believe me being around you personally, even when we were teenagers, man, I can already see, I know for sure that they definitely appreciate you. So, we're coming, towards the end. We don't like to keep our guests that long. But speaking of sight to see, and you're married, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You just got married, right? Last year?
Yeah, a couple months ago, actually.
Almost.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And we're big on marriage. In Islam, we're big on marriage on this platform. We're big on having the support of a spouse, having that person back you up in your goals and your dreams and your endeavors, right? So how has she responded to your journey so far, and how have you been able to be a helpmeet to you in your journey and vice versa?
Okay, quick little background on my wife. Her name is Dr. Brittany Bisong.
Okay.
Yeah, she's an internal medicine resident here at Mayo Clinic, but most importantly, biggest support throughout this medical journey. I always talked about how my brothers paved the path, but she's also paved the path. When I watched her go through her 4 years of medical school, I knew, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. You don't want to do this. Even discussions I had where I was like, Brittany, this certain rotation is difficult. She's like, all right, this is how we got to do. This is what you got to learn. He's going to try you like this, but this is how you got to, react. She reminded me that, rotations is hazing itself. It is hazing. Not everyone's going to like you. These people aren't, here to like you. They're here to teach you. You can't take that personally. You got to have real thick skin. And when she reminded me that, I was able to get through my last rotation. But when she reminded that constant support, like, all right, we're almost there, our goal, our dream, both doctors, husband, wife, parents, both doctors, we're closer and closer to that goal. And just having someone to remind you, hey, we're almost there. Don't get complacent. We're almost there.
Right.
Because we need to make sure you already got these loans rolling. We need to make sure we get to our dream and build this generational wealth. So just shout out my wife for sure.
Absolutely. So that's powerful. I didn't realize she was a doctor herself and that she was that far along ahead. Exactly. So you said she's an attending, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah.
And internal medicine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So what are her plans? Like, have you all discussed, how you're going to help each other in the future with your practice?
Yeah. We always have those discussions where it's laying down the foundation. One thing I learned from her, once you become a doctor, you're always looking at like other revenues, other plans here, want to start a business here, want to start business there. So just having those discussions. She's also reminded me that, once you become a doctor, it doesn't stop there. You could always have a greater impact in your community at a different space. So yeah, we just been having discussions like that.
Got you. And how did you guys meet? Like I don't that to have because first and foremost, like when you're approaching a Black woman who's about her stuff, it's not that it's intimidating, but you got to come correct. Oh, yeah. So how did you guys meet? Did you already know each other prior, or?
We met in undergrad, her senior year, my junior year of college at Baylor University. Like you said, both pre-medical students. She finished taking her hard classes. She was coasting senior year. I was going through the ringer and just having that support. Her being a year older than me, her taking some of the classes I've already taken. She was over here like, this is how you gotta do. This is how you gotta study. She was like, Charlz, you're playing games with this class. This isn't you could cruise. And of course, me being who I am, I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, oh crap, I'm struggling in this course. Looking at her, and she's like, I told you. So just from those conversations like that, just building a relationship of support. Me having her back, she having my back throughout it. I think that's what built saying, you know what, I want to make this, last. I want this. I could see being with her forever. Those are the type of things I knew initially just from that first couple months knowing her. And then we've been long distance for the past 5.5 years. This is finally the first time we're actually living together, husband and wife, now that we're married. But yeah, it's really been a blessing, and I'm enjoying the journey for sure.
Excellent. Nothing like a beautiful marriage, man. Especially black love, man. Ain't nothing like it.
What's
So
up?
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of both of y'all and how y'all been able to help each other to where y'all are now.
Sure, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, family. So at this time, we're going to do our Black Business Highlight, and then we're going to close out with some final remarks from our guests. Check it out.
You on the 5, man, they ready?
Yeah, I know, man. This bow tie won't stay up, though, man.
Did you bend it? You got to bend it.
Yeah, come look at it. I think I got it. You look at it. I think the clip maybe broke. I'm good?
No, sir.
Oh, come on.
No,
Hey,
sir.
man, I can't go out there like this, man.
I mean, you know I got the bow tie on, right?
What you talking about?
Keep your bow tie on.
There's a bow tie holder.
Let me show you. Take your bow tie off for me real quick.
There's a bow tie holder.
One going underneath. Top. Just like that.
You've been waiting to show me this, man.
I'm waiting to show you, bro. This is revolutionary. This is revolutionary. One for the other side, just like that. And now, let's see your bow tie. Turn up for me real quick. You're on the 4. You're on the
Malik,
4.
man, what did you just do, man?
You're on the 4.
Hey, Malik, come back real quick. Real quick. You always do the same thing? Let me see.
It'll never fall again. It'll never fall again.
Come on, man. Wow.
All right, fam. So that was the bow tie holder. You know, we on this platform we always support invention and innovation, and some of us, you know, whether in the Nation of Islam or not, some of us wear clip-on bow ties, and sometimes they just won't stay up. So our brother created a bow tie holder that allows it's really magnetism in a sense, and it allows the bow tie holder to stay up no matter what happens to your shirt, no matter what you're doing out in the field or whatever you're doing. It just allows it to stay up. So definitely support Black-owned innovation and invention with the bow tie holder. So we're at the last couple of minutes of the program. I just wanted to get some closing remarks from you, man. You know, on the need for Blacks to study medicine. You're talking to a layperson, right?
Yeah.
And they're not sure what they want to do with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting on the bench, you know, you about to wait on the train or something like that, and they just down and out. They don't know what to do. How would you convince them to go into medicine?
I think I would start off with the way the intro you started off. We need doctors, period. We need doctors. In the way for it to be equal, we need Black doctors. All right. I could already tell you from my medical class, there's about 15. When I started, there's about 15 of us out of 140, right? 15 Black students out of 140. And to us, that was a great feeling because at that moment, that was the highest that it's ever been. Next year, 25. This past year, 35. It's growing and it's continuously growing. So I guess what I would say to this person is a movement is going on that's revolutionary. A movement is going on and you should join it. You know, there's many avenues to be in medicine: doctor, physician, provider, PA, nurse practitioner, many avenues to be in medicine. Dentistry, I gotta say dentistry, many avenues to be in medicine. I'm just asking you to do your research, see what's best fitting for you, and to join the movement. Honestly, that's what I would say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that many avenues part is very key, man, because a lot of people think, oh, if you're not a doctor, you're not in medicine. Well, let's say this: the layperson would think that the person that may not, the person that you're talking to at that train stop, right?
Exactly.
I mean, oh, well, man, I don't want to be a doctor, but I want to help my people in medicine.
Exactly.
Okay, well, show them other ways. You know, there's tons of ways. Research, like you said, PAs, NPs. You know, you can be in business. You can own a clinic.
Exactly.
You don't have to even step foot in a patient's room.
Healthcare administration, right there.
Right. Exactly. So that's very important. Being able to know all the different spaces that you can get involved in when it comes to medicine.
Exactly.
But man, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I know this wasn't a long, drawn out interview like you used to seeing on YouTube with all those different types of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to first and foremost thank you again just for being on the program.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having the appreciation of us and the appreciation of the friendship that we built all those many years.
Of course.
To take the time out of your busy schedule, because trust me, I know it's hella busy. I remember texting you, man, your phone be on do not disturb like at least 8 times a day.
Exactly.
So I get it. So man, what are some final remarks you'd like to say to the people before you go?
Final remarks is I want to thank my friends. Just the way I didn't think they would be blowing up my social media, the
Yeah,
flyers,
they took it up, man.
the videos, the reels. My boy, this was an awesome opportunity. I've always wanted to do a podcast, and when you hit me up, I was like, hey, I got to take this opportunity. So this has been a great opportunity to highlight those things. Just want to shout out my friends, my family, my wife, and of course God. But of course, keep it keep it going. I'm going to be watching in the background, always supporting you, bro.
Thanks, bro. And I want to make a comment on what you just said, man. And you touched on it earlier about prayer and about God, right? And I saw the pendant that you had on in the reel that we made.
Of course. And keep the thing on me. Yeah.
Right. There's no way, and I want to tell this to anybody watching. There's no way that you would ever have the type of success that you want to have without God.
Amen.
Whether you acknowledge Him or not,
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that's making that happen.
Exactly.
You don't have to say a word. Okay, fine. You don't believe in me, fine. But He's the one making that happen.
True.
You can't deny that. So with you, and you just pulled it out. I appreciate that, man. And in science, there's always a separation between science and God, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're a firm believer that without prayer, that your success is very limited. He wouldn't really care for you if it wasn't for your prayers.
Amen.
So before you go, just kind of shed some more light on that believing factor and that faith factor in what you do.
I think, honestly, for me personally, and we can get to it in like a different interview or podcast, but I think, one certain prayer I have with God is I just pray that He continues to utilize me however He sees fit. I no longer start praying, God, please give me this. God, please give me this. I just say, God, utilize me however you see fit. If that's for me, that's for me. If it isn't for me, that isn't for me. I think once I start understanding that and being okay with this, I feel like, my trajectory, at least my mental health, physical health, spiritual health, social health, was recharged. I no longer say, oh, why couldn't that have been me? That it isn't for me. God's utilizing me however He sees fit. He's putting me on the path that I'm supposed to be on. Having a great, wife, she keeps me on that path. She keeps me, grounded, having that family support, friend support. That's honestly, and I feel like you said, without my prayers, without my faith, without everything like that, I wouldn't be where I am today. So.
Absolutely. And we're taught the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that our life and our death is all for God.
Mm-hmm.
His glory. So I appreciate that, man. So at this time, we're going to do something called a speed round, right?
Okay.
And the speed round is just like a lightning round of questions, random questions to kind of get to know you outside of the topic. You ready for it?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, cool. So you got 3 seconds to answer each one.
Okay.
All right, so what's the first thing you do or think of when you wake up?
Brush my teeth.
Okay, that's what's up. Hot or cold?
Cold.
Got you. Where you from? You say you from Cameroon?
Cameroon, West Africa. I'm born and raised Houston, Texas, but Bisong with a name like Bisong Ibabachu, my middle name. I'm straight Cameroon. Yes.
Wow. And you like cold rather than hot.
The way you were saying that is first thing came to my mind. Everybody likes to be in Houston, but nobody wants to be hot.
Got you. Okay, cool. So walking or jogging?
Oh, jogging for sure.
Got to stay fit. Personal work or volunteer work?
Volunteer. Let's go with volunteer. Yeah.
Got you. Favorite pair of shoes of all time?
Air Force Ones.
Oh, classic. Yes, sir. All right, iPhone or Android? I already know the answer to that.
iPhone. I gave that Android back in 2016. I can't look back.
Yeah, I gave it up last year, man. I've been iPhone, ever since, and I ain't looking back. For sure. All right, favorite song of all time?
Ooh, goodness gracious. Favorite song of all time. I can't even give you a good answer. I'm going to just say something by Michael Jackson. You're just going to have to take it to that point. I don't want to lie to you.
Good taste, man. Good taste. All right, so what's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, my friends will tell you I'd be making some mean chicken, rice, and broccoli. I'd be making some mean chicken, rice, and broccoli.
Why are you saying that, man? You making it sound like it's not even not an average.
It ain't your average. The seasoning, yeah.
Got you. All right, so youth engagement or raising money for a nonprofit?
Youth engagement, honestly. Yeah, definitely youth engagement for sure.
All right, what's the worst job you ever had?
Ooh. All right, so during COVID, I was a public pharmacy tech, right? Mm-hmm. never had a patient curse me out, but the way patients were cursing me out during those times, I had to look around and was like, bro, this job paid me $12, $13 an hour.
Oh, hell no.
To get cursed out by 65-year-olds because they mad they can't get their COVID shot. Like, what?
Ain't no job. $12, $13. No, it ain't even worth it. All right, cool. So, if you were stuck on an island for a year and you could only listen to 3 albums, what would they be and why? Now, what would they be? You don't have to say why.
Okay. I would be the J. Cole Born Sinner.
Oh my God.
It would be Charlz Gambino because of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Then get a little R&B. I'm gonna have to choose Chris Brown. I think you got some. Let's just go with Chris Brown. His Fame album.
Man, that's a classic album. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all better stop disrespecting Chris Brown. Y'all better stop all that disrespect. All right, cool. So if you could meet any scientist from the past, who would it be and why?
George E. Carver. Yes.
Okay.
He was produced Phi Beta Sigma as well as the inventions that he made. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Okay. So if you weren't a third-year medical student, what would you be?
Honestly, I'd be an actor. I honestly think I would have been. Yeah.
Got you. Okay, cool. My name is Charlz Bisong Jr. and I am
proud. I'm proud to be here, proud for this opportunity, proud to be a medical student, proud to wake up every morning doing what I love doing. It might be for free now, but due to delayed gratification, I know I'll be making it important. Yeah.
Got you. Well, family, as we always say, this has been another edition of the STEM Files. We had future doctor on with us, Charlz Bisong Jr. We talked about the need for Blacks to study medicine. We talked about a lot, really. And we definitely plan to have him back on. And we always like to assure you that this is your platform. This is the platform for Black people in STEM to really come and share with the world what they're doing. So at any time, when you finish med school, come on back. When you get into your residency, come on back. When you're finally done with all your training, come on back. We want to keep hearing from you and keep hearing, the successes you've had along the way. So thank you for coming on. For those who are watching, my name is Tariq Cardiac, typically joined by Jabri engineer, Charlz Bisong Jr. This has been the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. Peace.
Peace, guys.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy